Hello and welcome to Piano TV. In this week's Q&A segment, we are going to tackle the question of being able to play different volumes in the same hand. Now, this is a really important question, and it's a piano technique that you're going to use over and over and over, especially if you're at an intermediate and advanced level. So I really wanted to address this question. And as always with these videos, if you have any questions of your own, please leave them in the comments below and maybe we'll get to it next week. But let's get started. This question comes from Franz Liszt, back from the grave himself. How is it that I can play two notes at the same time with the same hand, but with vastly different volumes on each note? I'm learning Liszt's third Liebesstrom, and this has been a big problem for me. I actually learned this Liebesstrom on the piano a while back, so I can use this difficult piece as an example in this video. So what's going on in the beginning segment is that the arpeggiated harmony part is going in the right hand. There's these constant repeated harmony notes in the right hand, while the melody is being carried mostly by the right hand. But sometimes it goes to the left hand. And the right hand is doing these really long sustained notes, and since these long sustained notes are the melody, they naturally need to be much louder than the harmony notes going over top of them. So what you'll notice in parts like this is that it's almost always one finger over and over that's playing the louder notes. In this case, it's pretty much the thumb the whole time. Here, I'll just show you a little bit. It's almost entirely my thumb in the right hand. Knowing that, we can just design a simple exercise. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play some two-note intervals in my right hand and go really slowly while focusing on keeping my thumb. So I'm just going to maybe do like a walking down pattern like that, and what I'm going to do is go really slow. Now you hear those were basically equal in sound. So now I'm going to... So now I kind of did that a few times in a row, and I started getting the feel of the weight in my thumb. So hopefully you can hear my thumb is pressing a little bit louder than the other fingers. This is just something you can kind of do ad nauseum, and you can do it in the left hand too. So here's equal weight. Now I'm getting more weight in my thumb. Once you can do this with intervals, you can maybe move on to full 3-note chords. Again, working on keeping the weight on the thumb in this case. So I'm just gonna do something basic like that again. So here's equal weight. Now I'm focusing on my thumb. Now I'm trying not to play like that. This is difficult. Anyway, you can kind of practice that in whatever way you want. Sometimes what I'm doing when I'm doing exercises like this is I literally lean into the note in order to start feeling the weight. Like I'll actually move my body a little bit. Now, I wouldn't recommend that as like a long-term solution, but it is something that can start to help you get a feel for what it feels like to have more weight on that note. So once I'm comfortable with my ability to do that, I might use another easier piece like an etude or a study to practice this technique. And two examples right off the top of my head are Arietta by Grieg, which I'm going to show you here. It's from his lyric pieces. Well, let's start with that one. It's really similar to the third Liebesstrom, except it's much easier. So what I start by doing is learning the tune of the melody on its own. So in this case, the tune is a very simple melody in the upper fingers. So once I figure out the tune, I start working on the inner notes, which in this case have the same idea as Liebestrom, where we have these inner arpeggiated notes. And the left hand also arpeggiates, so we get this really nice effect. Oh. Anyway, you get the idea. Another good intermediate piece that you can work on to develop your skills is the first movement of Moonlight Sonata. Again, you have long, sustained held notes over top of a moving triplet pattern. Sorry, my note's stuck there. So you need those top notes to really ring out loudly and clearly without affecting the volume of the inner harmony notes. So that's a great practice piece as well. As for actually accomplishing this, I find my students are successful when they follow this process that I've been outlining to you in the video, and I just want to recap it here. So first of all, you learn how to create louder melody notes by just doing simple interval and chord exercises. And you can accomplish this by even literally leaning into the notes at first. Hopefully you don't have to do that for more than a few minutes. But you'll eventually start to develop more coordination over time with just really simple exercises like this. And then next, learn easier pieces that have notes weighted in this way and then use them as studies. And finally, attempt your difficult piece again and see if that solves the problem. There's really nothing magical or overly special about this process, but I will say that I do notice that it tends to work with my students, which is why I've been using it all of this time and why I decided to share it with you. It's one of those things that it's easy to understand the concept of how to do it, but it's difficult to actually do. And with some people, this skill comes together pretty fast, but other people need much more time just kind of practicing really basic exercises with this skill. But like I said at the beginning of the video, this is something that you're going to use over and over and over in your music, so it's well worth mastering now. That was my cat losing her mind. Thank you for watching today's Q&A segment. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, leave a comment if you have a question of your own, and I will get to another question next week. Catch you later. Hello and welcome to this week's weekly